Now, Senator John Cornyn accidentally admitted something when he talked about the Kurds and Syria. So now he supports Donald Trump's position of withdrawing American troops from northern Syria. So I've got some nuance to talk about when it comes to that position. But look, generally, I'm in favor of withdrawing troops from the Middle East. But there's some issues with withdrawing from this particular area at this particular time. So now, let me get to Cornyn's remarks on this. He was talking to reporters on Wednesday, and he said this, quote, "If Turkey was planning on coming into northern Syria and trying to ethnically cleanse the Kurds, and U.S. troops are caught in the middle, I'm not completely convinced that it was a bad idea to get them out of harm's way." Okay, so, I mean, hey man, look, if Turkey wants to do ethnic cleansing, I mean, who are we to stand in the way, right? We just got to get our guys out of the way. They've got oil fields to protect. Really? Really? Look, here's the thing. This is a complicated situation. Every time I talk about it, there is a lot of complication. There's a lot of nuance on either side. For one, Turkey is our ally in NATO. I don't want to make an enemy of the Turkish people or an enemy of the country. And so, and of course, further distance them from NATO and possibly have more of an alliance with the Russians. So that's not good, right? So we don't want to get into conflict with them. But at the same time, we also made a lot of promises to the Kurdish people, and they're facing a literal ethnic cleansing. In fact, that's exactly what they were doing. They were going in to cleanse the area of the Kurds. That's exactly what's going on. But here's John Cornyn saying, oh, I mean, they're going to do ethnic cleansing. Might as well get the hell out of here. Well, the whole point, the whole thing, the whole reason that the Turks were not doing ethnic cleansing is because of our presence there, because they didn't want us in the crossfire. Now that we left, thanks to Trump's decision where he didn't consult our allies in the area, or basically anyone in Congress, we get out of there and we basically open the door for this ethnic cleansing. Not good, right? But so now, the good thing, there is one good thing. We have a ceasefire. But not before thousands of Kurds were slaughtered by the Turks. In fact, 11,000 of them, no, I'm sorry. It was thousands of them that were killed. But while we were working together in that area to combat ISIS, 11,000 Kurds were killed. In fact, they took point. We basically gave them logistical support, and they had done the heavy fighting against ISIS. Okay. And then we basically abandoned them. And that's it. But, the one thing that we didn't abandon in that area? The oil fields. We secured the oil field. Trump himself came out and said, we secured the oil. That's what this has always been about, by the way. He never cared about the Kurds. Republicans didn't. Again, Cornyn admitted that, hey, man, look, they're getting ethnically cleansed. We would just like to get out of there. That's it. Nobody else, by the way, right? Nothing else really matters to these Republicans. So now there's a ceasefire at least, and that's a good thing. I mean, again, this is a horrible situation, but at least there's a ceasefire. Now Trump is basically taking credit for it because, of course, he is, right? He said this, quote, "We have done them a great service, and we've done a great job for all of them," Trump said of Turkey, Syria, and the Kurds. Quote, "And now we're getting out. Let someone else fight over this long, blood-stained sand." Again, this is what he thinks it's about. They're just fighting over sand. No, they're not fighting over sand. In fact, look, the northern area of Syria is basically, it's the only area in Syria that actually has the oil, right? And so, yeah, there's a reason why people fight over that. But it's actually Syrian oil. And so that's important, right? And here's the thing about we're getting out. We're not actually getting out. Those troops aren't coming back home. They're not going back to Oklahoma or Idaho or Ohio. No. They're being shifted around. Some are going to Iraq. Others are going to southern and central Syria. They're just leaving the north part. And not only that, but Donald Trump has also sent additional troops to Saudi Arabia. So, are we getting out? No, absolutely not. No, our troops are being shuffled around. Okay. So then, again, Trump did nothing, claimed credit for it, and has admitted the real reason that we've always been there, which goes along with what Cornyn had said. We were not there to protect the Kurds, but protect the oil, so that multinational corporations can continue to profit off what is, like I said before, Syrian oil. So now, finally, when he was asked about this, right, Cornyn had a little bit of a walk back. I think he realized that what he said was disastrous. He told HuffPost, quote, "I wasn't very clear. If the U.S. isn't committed to staying in Syria, getting our troops out of harm's way, where they might be injured or killed during the inevitable conflict between the Turks and the Kurds, was something I was concerned about." Well, but here's the thing. We are still committed there. And by the way, our troops being in the middle is what prevented this from happening in the first place. Or prevented from this from happening before, right? Since we left, we basically gave them a green light to go and do whatever they want, the Turks. And so that had a problem with, like I said, ISIS fighters, jails no longer being protected, and things like that. Thousands of them had escaped, going to Europe or going back to fight, ironically, U.S. forces in other places. Because, look, you can't protect prisons. You can't protect prisoners, which, by the way, Trump expected them to continue doing that while getting slaughtered by the Turks, and then expected the Turks to take over. That was not part of the deal. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And so the whole thing was an absolute disaster. Like I said, there is ethnic cleansing going on, and our politicians just kind of shrug. They don't care because they only cared about one thing, and that's oil. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/TYTNation, set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent, progressive media.